final guest of the week. Usually he's on Thursday in the final hour of the show, but I wanted to give him extra time to be prepared for whatever chaos might befall the NFL going forward with a triple header on Saturday and a triple header on Sunday. First time ever, double wildcard weekend days. I can't wait. 6 games. Dr. Chao, what have you told your family about the double day of duty there? Have you opted out of dad responsibilities on Saturday and Sunday?
Well, one of the things I'm actually looking forward to is that second game on Saturday is that Nickelodeon game. So
yes, that's great.
I went the other way and got the kids excited about it. So I got some eye rolls from the wife, but that saved me a little bit on Saturday.
For people who don't know and might have young kids that they are also responsible for on the weekend, which I would imagine is a large percentage of our audience out there right now, this Nickelodeon game idea is pretty cool, right? Basically, they're doing a simulcast, but the game is designed for young kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be special effects. I don't know what it's going to be, but the little trailer that I saw, my 8-year-old twins kind of got excited about it. So I think my son Davis, who loves the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, was disappointed it wasn't a Chiefs game. I told him the Chiefs aren't playing, but he wanted it to be a Chiefs game that was Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm actually going to flip it over. I might let my 6-year-old watch some of it because I'm sure that I'm going to be watching games all day Saturday and Sunday. So let's dive into the big decision-making in terms of health. And I want to start, since we're down to only 6 games, I'm going to dive into them one at a time with you and just have you kind of walk me through what we need to know from a health perspective on these games. And so obviously, as we just said, NFL, 6 different games going on, 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. And the first game that's going to kick off on Saturday might end up being one of the most entertaining of the entire wild card weekend. Colts Bills. How would you assess the health of the Colts and the Bills in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, if anyone misses it or they're driving and didn't hear it, at OutKick, we've got the article Saturday morning for Saturday games and the 3 breakdown Sunday morning for Sunday's games. And at Pro Football Doc, all week long, the field views and things like that.
And before you get going, by the way, let me give you a little bit of props here. If you aren't following at Pro Football Doc on Twitter, and you are at all interested with being as well-informed as you can be about injuries that are happening during games and prep and everything else, he does great work at OutKick, but his own website is also stellar, and I just find it to be a very complimentary part of watching the games. And you know that. We've been having you on for a couple of years now because I said, man, this is such interesting information. And we get great foot feedback, but I appreciate all the work that you do and also the good feedback that we get for your segment. I tried to say that for a lot of people before we finished the year, but I want to make sure I got it in this morning with you. So having given you that prelude, don't screw up with us today. Colts Bills, the first game that is kicking off on Saturday.
Well, most of the teams in the playoffs, and this is no accident, are on the healthy side. The unhealthy ones don't make it. So all of these grades are mostly A's and B's. And the Bills, though, are the healthiest team in the playoffs, period.
Wow.
They only have 2 players that are questionable, and I believe both of them will play. Cole Beasley is the one everyone thought wouldn't play, and all week long at ProFootballDoc.com we said we believe that he would play, and it's looking like he will play. Stephon Diggs has an oblique injury, but an oblique injury for a wide receiver, he's already played through it. He's listed as questionable because part of being questionable is that there's a 99% chance that you'll play, since there's no probable anymore. He will play and be fine. So essentially, the Bills are at full strength on both sides of the ball. The Colts, not so much. Their big issue for the Colts is obviously the left tackle. Anthony Costanzo is out with his ankle. His backup, LaRaven Clark, is out. And today, Thursday, it was declared that Will Holden, the backup right tackle, is out. And you say, who cares, the right tackle starting? But he's also a swing tackle, and he's the third-string left tackle. And so last week, the Colts went out and got someone out of college. I say that in jest. Gerald Veldheer, former Raiders left tackle, was coaching the offensive line at at East Grand Rapids University. I hope I got that correct. They lured him out of retirement, and they started him at left tackle last week. And last week he did okay. Now, can he do it 2 weeks in a row? Because otherwise they're already down to a fourth-string left tackle on that side. And Phillip Rivers, God love him, but he's not the most mobile, and he's still dealing with a turf toe there. So that is the big injury place to watch. DeForest Buckner will be fine with his ankle. Obviously, they've missed Malik Hooker all year long. The Colts aren't too bad, but it's that offensive line issue that we really have to watch.
That is fascinating. I didn't even know that full story about how bad down the Colts had gotten. I knew they had initial injuries at left tackle. I hadn't followed it to know that they were that far in the dumps when it comes to being able to protect Phillip Rivers in theory. All right, next game up, Rams-Seahawks. This will be the third time that these two teams have played, and by far the number one storyline in this game is Jared Goff and his thumb. I know you've been saying for a long time he's going to play. How effective can he be, and what would you anticipate seeing from him?
Well, I think the Rams actually, believe it or not, are the healthier side in this matchup, and I think the game will be decided one way or the other with the ball in Jared Goff's hands. I believe he's going to play, as you said. Week 16 he played. He finished the game without a splinter tape. Now he's had surgery. The thumb should be more stable. He has been limited at practice. He's been said to spin the ball well. Cooper Kupp is back. Cam Akers is fine. No Darrell Henderson. Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle, should be back. And the problem is for the Seahawks, defensively, yes, Jamal Adams is going to play, which we thought all along. Maybe not quite 100%. But Shaquille Griffin got put back on the injury report with a hamstring issue. He's the number one corner. The number two corner, Quentin Dunbar, is already out on injured reserve. The number three corner is just activated off of injured reserve coming back. And up front, Jerron Reed, with his oblique, is a different situation than Stephon Diggs. If you're just running routes and catching balls, that's different than when you're wrestling a bear or the offensive lineman in front of you, two bears, where you need your oblique strength and core muscles to be effective. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to play or be effective. So it's the Seahawks pass defense against the Rams pass offense that's going to be the key to that game, and I think the Rams have the advantage.
This is fascinating. Okay, so the final game on Saturday, Bucs going on the road against Washington. Big storyline here from a health perspective. One for the Bucs, another for Washington. Mike Evans for the Bucs, and exactly how well he will be able to play. And then certainly we continue to talk about Alex Smith, who was able to play on the Sunday Night Football game, but obviously wasn't 100% in terms of being able to move. What happens here with the Bucs and with the Washington football team?
I don't believe Mike Evans will play, and even if he does, I think he's more likely a decoy. If they can make it to next week, I think he can come back from that knee hyperextension issue. For the Bucs, the bigger deal is Devin White is 1 day shy of making it off the COVID protocol. And the good news is Carlton Davis, their number one corner, actually was full practice with a groin, and that would be big to have him back. Washington, defensively and offensively, are among the more injured. Alex Smith, I think he's going to have a rougher time this week than he had last week against the Eagles, and he didn't look great. It's just something, as we've documented on some of the videos at OutKick, that's hard for him to overcome because of the AFO brace and the loss of calf muscle. Gibson should be fine with the turf toe. McLaurin should play. But the other issue is defensively. Both safeties are out for the Washington football team, and the coverage linebacker, Kevin Pierre-Louis, may be out. So, even without Mike Evans, there's still Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and, of course, over the middle threatening the safeties is Gronk himself.
So the Bucs look like a decent bet there if you are. I've already bet the Bucs, so that's a tease. I'm going to give my picks in the next segment. But Bucs look like a good opportunity there to score based on those issues. All right, let's move into Sunday. So first game up, Doc, I'm going to this one. We're talking to Dr. David Chao. He's a former team doctor for the then San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers. I'm going to the Ravens-Titans game. There certainly are still some issues, especially on the offensive line. I know for the Titans, I know the Ravens have had some defensive line issues. How would you assess the overall health of these two teams?
These are the two healthier teams, probably the healthiest overall matchup of the weekend, and it should be a barn burner there. Yes, some offensive line issues. Both sides have lost their left tackle earlier, Taylor Lewan for the Titans, Ronnie Stanley for the Ravens. But the big question mark for the Titans is now Roger Saffold with his ankle, and he has not practiced yet this week, so that might be big for Tennessee. The defenses on both sides are relatively healthy. Yes, the Titans have survived losing a couple of their linebackers, but the Ravens are really the healthier side slightly, and they're getting healthy with Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters, both of them with calf issues that are now behind them. And so the Ravens look to be getting healthy at the right time in this matchup. And, boy, two strong run games. It seems like a high total. I get that Tannehill goes to the over a lot, but it seems to me the defenses on both sides are the healthier sides.
Yeah, the Titans' defense might be healthy, but they're not very talented. So that could be a tough combo.
There's no question there, Clay. And you know what I do is I learned just to stick with grading it based on health. And
yep.
With those 5 Sunday picks all year, we were 50, 30, and 5 just going off of health.
Yeah, that's perfect.
For the year. So.
I love that. All right, so next game up, Bears and Saints. The Saints are out to a big favorite. We got Michael Thomas coming back, who's been theoretically getting back to 100%. What do you see in this one?
The Saints are the healthier side. Even though Allen Robinson missed today, don't worry about it. Allen Robinson will play for the Bears. But Roquan Smith, I don't think he can play. He dislocated his elbow last week. Hopefully their cornerback, Jalen Johnson, will return to play. But the big issue for the Saints is Michael Thomas should be near 100%. He's got to get officially activated off of IR, which he will. Alvin Kamara made it through the COVID protocol and will play. Drew Brees is healthier with his ribs. But don't think about this. This is big. Defensively, Sheldon Richardson is huge, and he's coming back for the Saints, as well as their safety there. So they're only missing Quan Alexander defensively for the Saints. And the Bears still have a couple of issues lingering on their offensive line, et cetera. The Saints are the healthier squad in this one.
Okay, last game, Sunday Night Football. Rare to have the head coach on the injury list with the COVID issues like Kevin Stefanski is for the Browns. But the Browns and Steelers, as we break down the expected health there, Big Ben hasn't been greatly healthy, but he got a full week's rest, so he hasn't played in 2 weeks. How do you assess this one?
Well, I say this facetiously, but, it might be the Steelers that for some reason are attracting all the COVID attention. Remember, it was the Steelers against the Titans. It was the Steelers against the Ravens.
That's right.
Now it's the Steelers against the Browns with all their COVID stuff. Obviously, I say that in jest, and obviously Pittsburgh isn't doing anything wrong. They're just on the unlucky end of this. But the game will go on unless there is active inter-team spread among the Browns. And so I do believe the game will go on. There's not much room to postpone it because of the playoffs. And yes, there's a handful of players that are now missing from the Browns. Overall, the Steelers are the healthier side, even though they are a little bit short on their linebackers, but they rested T.J. Watt. They rested Marquise Pouncey. They rested Big Ben. Juju took a day off this week, but he will be fine. The Steelers are the healthier side. But think about this, Clay, and this is probably more schematics, but the Steelers could rest everybody, and the Browns had to play everyone. But more importantly, the Browns probably had to show all of their playbook to win that game, and the Steelers, I'm sure, didn't show very much of it at all with their backup quarterback playing. So, and the Browns with the COVID protocol, remember, whatever they're trying to change in the game plan this week, they're going to have to change via Zoom. They can't change it in person because they've been out most of the week from practice in person, and they're playing the same opponent again. So factor that into your decision-making.
Okay, so we just ran through all 6. We're talking to Dr. David Chao, the former team physician of the then San Diego Chargers. Of course, now they're in L.A. What would you say are your favorite bets just based on health-related analysis?
Just based on health-related analysis, I would have to say Tampa over Washington. I would have to lean towards the very healthy Bills. I would have to lean towards the Rams. I would have to lean towards the Steelers, as we talked about, and the Saints. The Ravens and Titans are relatively even in health.
Outstanding stuff as always, Dr. Chao. By the way, I'm just kind of curious on this. Are you excited for the end of football season because of all the energy you put into this, or disappointed when it gets to this point in football season? I mean, after all the games you've been breaking down, I'm just kind of curious because I kind of feel sometimes a bit of both because this is the super busy season for us, but we got, 6 games this weekend in the NFL. Then we got 4 games the next weekend, 2, then 1. So we got 13 games, I believe, left, which is about what a normal weekend would be, a little bit less. So are you like, hey, I'm ready for a vacation, I'm ready to not have my weekends taken up, or does it make you sad as you come down the stretch run of a football season?
Well, a little bit both. Right now, I love this time of year because I love being able to get granular on 6 games as opposed to 16, right?
Yep.
And so I love this time of year, no question. But as teams drop off, I will start to miss it. And I will say this because we're on early enough that my wife won't hear it. But my wife won't miss any of it. And it will be nice to spend some time with family. But this clearly is a passion. You can't put in time like this, after my orthopedic surgery hours and whatever, if you're not passionate about something like you are for OutKick and all the media things that you do. So no question, it's fun for me, but a little bit of both. It's nice to have an off season too.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I want to thank you again. We'll keep talking to you as the games get fewer and fewer down the stretch. But again, encourage people to go follow at Pro Football Doc, read them at our site, OutKick. And if you hop on Twitter, thank him for coming on the all through the regular season, and we'll take him through the playoffs as well. And this has been, even for a crazy season, right? I mean, with all the COVID-related issues, hopefully, knock on wood, by next year, when we're kicking off all these games, you'll be able to just go back to analyzing regular injury-related issues instead of trying to assess whether guys are going to be able to play with COVID positive and COVID contact tracing and everything else.
That would be a welcome change. But I do hope that some of the COVID rules change or stay, like the 3-week IR rule. Why does it have to be one way or minimum 8 weeks, right? Give teams some flexibility. So there are some good things to maybe come out of the COVID rules.
Thank you, Dr. David Chao. We will talk to you next week.